Okay, section 11.1. So now we're getting into chapter 11, which is graphing conics. So a parabola is a type of conic, and so is a circle. Okay, so a conic section is a curve in a plane that is the result of intersecting a plane. So remember, a plane is kind of like a piece of paper with a cone. Okay, so when you intersect a cone with a piece of paper, you get a circle, or in the second one, when it's slanted slightly, you get an ellipse, which is kind of like an oval looking shape. Then you have your parabola, which you're used to, which is your U, and then you have a hyperbola, which is like having two parabolas. Okay, so what we're going to start with today is circles. So remember, a circle is a set of all points that are equally distant from the center. And much like our vertex in a parabola, that's h comma k, with our circle, it's also going to be labeled h comma k. And remember, your radius, which we label as r, is the distance from the center to any point on your circle. So your radius is creating that equal distance from your center to all of the points around the circle. Okay, so when we're creating the standard form of an equation, we can derive that formula by using the distance formula. So let's recall the distance formula. This is the distance formula right here, right? We subtract our two x's, we subtract our two y's from two separate points, add them together, take the square root, you have the distance. Okay, well, in a circle, if we find the distance between hk and xy, that's giving you the radius, right? The distance from the center to a point on the circle. And if you trace that all the way around, right, you're creating your circle. You're finding the distance between 2 points. That's creating your radius. So my 2 points, we would say, is x and y. So the x and the y is going to stay the same in the distance formula. And my other point is my center, my h and my k. So I'm finding the distance between a point on my circle to the center. That's going to give me the radius, right? The distance from the center to a point on your circle is your radius. Now, if I were to solve this and square both sides, I'm going to come up with the equation of my circle. Okay, so the standard form of a circle is x minus h squared, y minus k squared equals your radius squared. Okay, and this is all coming from the distance formula. Okay, now let's talk about how to graph this. So it says find the center and the radius, so I want you to label both, and then draw your graph. So in number 1, let's find our center first. So my center, it's always going to be the opposite. Okay, so instead of -3, it's going to be 3, -2. Okay, here's my h. Here's my k. So 3, -2, and then this is my r squared. So if you want to figure out your radius, if this is r squared, what I need to do is take the square root of 36. So the radius is equal to the square root of 36, which equals 6. Okay? So graphing your circles is a bit easier. It's especially going to be easy if you do it on your iPad. So I'm going to plot my center at 3, -2. And then I know my radius is 6. So I'm going to count up, down, left, right, 6 spots to create the points on my circle. So I'm going to go up 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's a point on my circle, right? So what I just created right here, this is my radius. And if you trace your radius all the way around, it's going to create your circle. Okay, and then I'm going to do it the other way. So I'm going to go to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oop. And then I'm going to go down 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I'm going to go to the left 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now you could kind of see your circle forming. And I'm going to draw a circle through these points. And what's nice about your iPad is it'll create the circle for you. okay? But make sure you're plotting those 4 points. Okay, and there's our circle. Easy enough, right? So in number 2, my center, again, is the opposite, so it's going to be -4, -1. And it's kind of nice that it gives you your x coordinate with your x, your y with your y. Okay, and remember this is r squared, so my radius is equal to the square root of 28. Okay, and we could actually simplify that, right? So this is 4 and 7, so it's going to be 2 root 7 is my radius. And this is going to be a little more difficult to count from your center. So what I want you to do is when you're counting, just approximate what the square root of 28 is, and it's about 5.3, so a little past 5. So after I plot my center at -4, -1, when I'm counting my spots, I'm going to go a little past 5 spots from the center, okay? Okay, so I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm going to go a little bit past that. So somewhere over here, and I'm going to do the same thing down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to go a little bit past it. Same thing to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a little bit past it. And I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a little bit past it to the left. And I'm going to draw my circle through. If some of you have a compass, and you're not doing this on your iPad, I recommend using that compass. And here is my circle. Okay, it's okay if your circles don't look beautiful. It's not super easy to draw those, so like I said, if you have a compass, use it. If you have your iPad definitely comes in handy with graphing these. Okay, last one, number 3. My center is -1, 1. My radius is the square root of 18. Let's simplify that. 2, 3, root 2. And then let's approximate so we know how far to count. So I'm going to take the square root of 18, and my calculator is telling me it's about 4.2. So I'm going to go a little past 4. So my center's at -1, 1, and I'm going to count up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a little bit past it. I'm going to do the same thing down, 1, 2, 3, 4, a little bit past it. Same thing to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, a little bit past it, and then to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, a little bit past it. Now let's connect our points. And there's my circle. Okay, moving on, finding the equation of a circle given the center and the radius. So I'm given the information that you were finding from the equation, okay, and now you're working backwards. So we know that this is my h and this is my k, and the standard formula is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So we're literally just going to plug in this info into this equation. So I have x minus -4 because it's minus whatever h is. Well, h is -4 squared plus y minus whatever k is equals 8 squared. So my equation is going to be x plus 4 squared plus y minus 2 squared equals 64. And there's the equation of your circle. Very, very easy. So in number 2, hk, here's my r. So x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared equals 2 squared. Well, that's just going to become x squared plus y squared equals 4. Okay, and then last one. X minus 4 squared plus y. Now since it's negative 1 and it's minus negative 1, it's going to become plus 1 equals 5 root 2 squared. So x minus 4 squared plus y plus 1 squared equals, now when you're squaring this, the 5 gets squared and the root 2. So that becomes 25 times 2, because remember when you square square root, the square root goes away. So 25 times 2, and that's going to give me 50. And there's my equation. Very, very simple. Okay? All right, last part, graphing circles that aren't in standard form. So in order to do this, it's just like a parabola. When the parabola was not in vertex form, we had to complete the square to get there. It's the same thing here. Okay, so what you're going to do is rearrange this. Okay, so I want the x's together and the y's together, and I'm going to get rid of the number that's all by itself. I'm going to move it to the other side. Okay, so I'm going to have x squared minus 6x, so I'm just rearranging, plus y squared plus 8y, and then I'm going to get rid of this 9 because it has no variable, so equal negative 9. What you're going to do is complete the square with both of these x's and y's. So I'm going to do each one a different color. So for the x, I have to divide the negative 6 by 2 and square it. So that gives me 9. So I'm going to get x squared minus 6x plus 9. Okay, I'm going to add it next to the 6, and then I have to add it to the other side of the equation. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the y's. I'm going to do that in purple. Okay, so 8 divided by 2 squared. So that's 4 squared, so I get 16. So this is going to be y squared plus 8y plus 16 equals, and don't forget to add that 16 the other side as well. So now you're adding two numbers to both sides. Negative 9 plus 9 is 0, plus 16 is 16. Okay, so now you're going to factor each. So this becomes x minus 3 squared plus y plus 4 squared equals 16. Now it's in standard form. Okay, can you see the center? So the center of my circle is 3, negative 4. My radius is the square root of 16, so r equals 4. Okay, so I'm going to plot those. So 3, negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So here's my center. The radius is 4, so I'm going to count up 4. I'm going to count to the right 4. I'm going to count down 4. I'm going to count to the left 4. Okay, connect your 4 points. And we have our circle. Okay, so number 2. So I'm going to get the number that has no variable over, and I'm going to rearrange it so my x's and y's are by each other. So x squared plus 2x, and then plus y squared minus 8y equals negative 8. And we're going to complete the square for the x's and the y's. So 2 divided by 2 squared, so that's 1. So over here I'm going to get x squared plus 2x plus 1. Make sure to add it to the other side. And then I have to do the same thing for the y's. So negative 8 divided by 2 squared, negative 4 squared, so 16. So again, I'm going to be adding 16 to the other side, and this is going to be y squared minus 8y plus 16. Okay, so then I get negative 7 plus 16, which is 9. So over here, I get x plus 1 squared, so I'm just factoring it, right? When you factor, it becomes x plus 1 times x plus 1. And then over here, I get y minus 4 squared, and then equals 9. So my center is negative 1, 4. My radius is the square root of 9, so r is equal to 3. So negative 1, positive 4, my radius is 3. So up 3, 1, 2, 3. To the right 3, 1, 2, 3. To the left 3. Down 3. And there you have it. Okay, and that's it. So graphing circles, I honestly believe, is a little bit easier than parabolas, and it's pretty quick. The trickiest part is probably these last two, but you guys will get the hang of it. And that's it for graphing circles.